And we are live. Welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Here with, as you can tell, an awesome guest, Bairnt.
Hey there, good to see you, Peter. Or not Peter. I'm usually with Peter. This is that's an awesome way to start. Yes, yes.
Great start.
Well, it is early in the morning here for me, so I just did wake up a little bit. So I gotta get my bearings straight here. But yes, I'm with Steve. Steve is amazing too. So Steve's here.
Well, now it's just ongoing joke where Mike and Peter are being called or get mixed up. Now we're going to be called Mike and Peter too. So let's keep the joke alive.
That's right. Even though I didn't mean.
Okay, we're here with a new segment I was hoping to become a regular thing, and this is going to be primarily a discussion chat, just having myself and other people potentially on there to talk about talking points in the board game community. They will probably be game agnostic, so not necessarily about a specific game. However, we could talk about different aspects of a game, but this is just a way of I don't know, sharing in what's going on with what we've experienced lately and what we're seeing in like the Discord chat, and just kind of like have fun chats. We're also
Yes.
going to be talking about new content coming out. Just like, hey, here's new stuff we will be give you a heads up on. So that's the purpose of this one. It's going to be generally very short. And Baron's here to help me out with that today.
I'm sorry. What?
You're here to help me out with that today. Hey, Kevin,
That's
thanks
right.
for joining. So, the other thing is I also have an announcement. So, we'll be doing a giveaway announcement at the end of this video stream. So, stick around for that.
I'm not eligible for that giveaway. That's one thing about it.
That's correct. Yep. I'm not even eligible either, so. Oh, the live went on during the middle of our joke. Oh, yes. Okay. Whoops. Well, we'll have to fill in that joke later. But yeah, thanks, Kevin. So, okay. Let's start off with some news topics. I know, Baron, do you want to talk about, I don't know, this game that's not many people have heard about? Maybe it's called Madara? Not sure.
It's an under the radar game that nobody really plays. Actually, it's pretty good. And I'm sure people have heard me talk about it. I don't know all the time. And if they're not subscribed to Meet Me at the Table, which is my channel, I am actually restarting the campaign over there using what now came out as the 1.1 rules. Not only did the rules come out, they basically gave you every card again in the game. Most of them have been updated for balance issues, also to give the game more of a challenge, and to improve the overall quality of the gameplay and to speed up and streamline a little bit of what was going on. Some of the cool things I think is neat is they actually added some monsters. They've upgraded the monsters from just fighting the same ones over and over again. They've actually kind of upgraded them to, like, we have the cave sickles. Now they actually have gone ahead and given us elder cave sickles, and what's the last one here? Oh, let's see if I can put in the picture. Elder cave sickles, as I apparently put. Oh, an ancient.
Mm.
And these, I think it's kind of neat because as you get more powerful, instead of seeing more of the same monster, you're seeing the same monster, but they're actually harder to fight. So it kind of scales with you, which is something it really needed. One of the drawbacks was people saying it kind of got easier near the end because you get more powerful. That's kind of how it goes. But
Ooh.
really enjoying that. I did a whole dealy on the upgraded rules and what they all are. So that's all over on my channel, though. I didn't put anything on Meet Me at the Table or not One Stop Co-op Shop, because we don't really do like, oh, this is what's in the update pack.
No, that's what this is for,
So
hopefully. Nick
that's right.
has a question for us. He says, where's
Oh,
Madara rank versus other dungeon crawls for you? How about you start,
other
Baron?
dungeon crawlers. That's a really tough one because all these number one.
Number one for you?
Yes, it still is number one. It's the character customization. I'm a big fan of the overall artwork and theme of the game. I think is really cool. How it's that JRPG type style. I grew up playing Final Fantasies a lot, and all those type of games. So this is really cool concept to me. The missions are unique enough that everything always seems a little. It's not always just go beat the bad guy. A lot of times, you actually just get the exit, but there's a lot of other things that happen, and the mystery of how things happen, I think, is really well done in the game too, where you just get to see certain parts of the board, and the other parts open up as the board gets bigger. Of course, the drawback to that is sometimes we'll be like, "Oh, can I get these 3 tiles?" You're like, "Oh, I gotta go find the 3 tiles." Where at least in Sword and Sorcerer, so like, "Hey, put these three away. You might need these later," kind of thing. But
Right,
it
right.
so, but there's really, and the dice system I think is really well done. Some people think it's kind of swingy, but I don't mind the swinginess. There's enough mitigation, and there's enough little fun things in the game that you don't see in other games very often. It's number one. I will never. I shouldn't say never, but right now it's hard to beat. That's for sure.
Yeah, Madara's number two for me. I think for me, I do think I like Sword and Sorcery a little bit better. I think they're actually pretty similar games in a lot of ways. Like for
Hmm.
me, I love a good engaging AI, and both Madara and Sword and Sorcery have that in spades, right? Madara has probably the best character customization options I've experienced in Dungeon Crawl, and I know you've mentioned that, Bairnt. And the mission design is excellent. So like, there's a lot of really great things going for Madara, and I think for me, I don't quite care for having to play four characters. It's not a huge deal in this game, honestly. And then the character elimination is something that Sword and Sorcery turned to a ghost, and so like there's some other things that Sword and Sorcery does that I like a little bit better in that regard. But yeah, Madara is really fun, and well, the other benefit is I had the pleasure playing with Bairnt, and he makes every game fun. So there's that too.
Oh, the other thing is, don't forget the 429-page storybook that goes along with it, that you can
Yes.
also listen to on Foreteller, which I found out after putting up my last video that sometimes has some problems with the Android system, but they do have it all voiced on YouTube as well. You can also find it there. So there are multiple places to find this narrative if you want to listen to it instead of just reading it. But anyway,
Cool. Good
a lot of
questions. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. But yeah, Madara. What is this game? That's a great game. I liked it.
yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going through some of the other topics. Now, I would normally like to tell you like what co-ops are coming this week out that we know of news, and unfortunately, I don't really know of any. I scan around my normal sources. I couldn't find any co-op specific games coming out there. There are solo games coming out there. Those will come up later, but kind of want to focus on co-ops on this part of it because we're a one-stop co-op shop, right? But there's some other games I want to talk about. There's not any information on this, but I do want to bring it up. There's a game called Earthborn Rangers. Um, there's basically nothing that we know about this, but it is a customizable cooperative card game, and it is being managed by Andrew Navarro, who did the Living Card games. Honestly, when you say the words customizable cooperative card game with Navarro, my mind immediately jumps to, hey, is this a quote unquote living card game without taking on that name? Because I believe living card game is a term that Fantasy Flight uses, and this is not a
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight product. So that's just a guess, but I do know that the Sadler brothers were involved in the design of this. So we'll have to keep eyes on for Earthborn Rangers. And I believe Mike is the one following up on this, so we should be covering this for you at One Stop in some shape or form. So
I've got a few.
okay.
I'm just going to mention them. One I was backing and then stopped backing is The Witcher. It's a big game right now on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't back, pulled out because I still don't have a lot of information on solo co-op,
Yeah,
unless they put something out within the last couple of days, which is really too bad. I think they're missing out on a big part of the community. Of course, they said, "Oh yeah, there'll be stuff in it," but I just don't. I need more.
yeah.
There's this weird one that came out of the nowhere. It's called um, Kraken
Space
Adventure.
Kraken.
Yeah, thank you, Space Kraken. I saw this on Kickstarter the other day, and I'm watching it. It looks interesting. It's like a book that actually it very similar. It's almost like they saw what ISS Vanguard was doing from Awakened Realms and kind of did it that way, where a lot of it is in the book and the characters are in the book and different missions are in the book, and you flip these things this way and that way to put people in different missions and things. But anyway, I haven't really looked. Other than that, I haven't looked too much into it, but I am following it to see what it's all about. And now we can't just talk about Kickstarter anymore, Steve. We have to talk about GameFound. GameFound is now the new Kickstarter. There's a lot of stuff over there now. They have that Wild Ascent, which is actually delivering to backers right now. They have their new one
Mm-hmm.
coming out. I'm excited to see what that entails. That's coming soon. Kingdom Rush is in late pledge. That's
Mm-hmm.
another one that I think is be pretty cool. But those are just kind of the stuff I have been watching right now. I've been kind of keeping my eye on. But
Yeah,
so if your people are looking for something to just kind of keep their eye on, those are some.
yeah. GameFound is an awesome. I love their system. Nick has a question for us. He says, "Have you gotten a chance to watch the Beyond the Solitaire Assassin's Creed video?" Kind of aiming towards me, I guess. And he's wondering my current hype level. So, if you're not familiar, I absolutely love V Commandos. I am a huge sucker for stealth games, and V Commandos excels at this. It is, yeah, it's my number one stealth game out there. Assassin's Creed is made by the same designer and publisher team with the video game IP on it. I have not watched the Beyond Solitaire video yet. I have seen the unboxings from the publisher, and I remember going through most of the rule book back in the day, but um, my buddy in town wound up ordering it, so I have not watched any videos because I kind of come in with a fresh set of eyes when I sit down and play that one. His copy should be arriving shortly, but I don't think he's received it yet. But I am super stoked for it. I think that the box was huge. It's a huge game. But yeah, I like what I hear from the changes they made to the V Commandos rule set because they took the V Commandos base set and they tweaked it a little bit for that. But I will for sure share more when I get a chance to actually play it.
I wish I would have backed that one. There was, I think, a lot of this stuff going on Kickstarter wise. That's why I didn't.
Same.
And I'm kicking myself because it does look really cool. I wish I would have backed that one. I am in search of a copy. Let's put it that way. I am in search of a copy. That's what I'm going to be. I'm digging around trying to find one.
You and me both, because okay, we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know what is going on. I changed some settings, so hopefully it's better now. I swear. We're testing things we were going fine earlier, and now tech gods did not like us. So, okay. But yes, we're back. Back again. So, where were we talking about stuff? Okay. So we talked about a bunch of games. I think the other one we wanted to talk about was Dune.
Yes, and I thought it was Doom, and because I'm a moron, so it's Dune. One with Sting.
Right. So yes, this one. Let me bring that up real quick. There you go, Dune. There it is. Okay. Hey, Kevin. Thanks you're back. Glad you made it back. Okay, so Dune, this one was just announced early this week by Portal Games, and as far as I can tell, it's a narrative adventure game, and it sounds like it's going to be maybe something like Detective, but with the Dune IP. So yeah, I can think that's what it's going to be. I'm not sure.
Well, you've piqued my interest, Steve. I have to go take a look at this now.
Yeah, because you liked the detective games, correct?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, we were playing Detective City of Angels last night.
Oh, cool.
Through our, what is it, the Smoke and Mirrors expansion. We're on the second expansion for the game. We have only one mission left, and we've played everything for it. So then we have to wait till they come out with the new expansion.
Cool.
And yes, we've played through everything of Detective as well, all the way through the 80s thing that they had a little while ago. I brought it out.
Nice.
Oh, and I think that was there a 70s thing, 60s thing? Anyway, yes, we played all the detective stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah, so not much to know, but keep an eye for that one. Let's see. There's a couple other games I'll mention real briefly that they're co-ops that we would have covered if we started this earlier. Was Deliverance is out there. You can back this one currently. I think Colin played this one, I believe, correct?
Yes, Colin and I both did a playthrough of that.
Oh, you did too. That's right. You were part of that. Yeah.
Yep, we both did it, and you will be seeing that hitting the channels when it comes out. Because Colin and I will be playing that together. It's a campaign.
Sweet. So yeah, that's currently on there. See some
highly recommend that one. That one
was
really cool. Everything about it was awesome.
It seems interesting. It seems like it's not exactly biblical in nature. It's more of like a fantasy angel and demon like battle RPG going on, right?
Yes, it's battling demons, and it does have, but there is the flavor text. Some of it stems from the Bible,
right?
But the gameplay itself really is not. It doesn't have anything about it,
right? Cool. And then the other one I'll mention is co-op. This came out recently as well. Skeptics. It sounds interesting. I'm not one I'm particularly excited to back or anything, but I'll just bring it up in case people want to know about it. It is. You play as a crew that's entering in a haunted house or a museum, and you're trying to uncover or try and prove that this ghost or spirits are real. And so some dice chucking, some trying to area movement, and each of the ghosts have their own properties, so you have to locate. So yeah, another one to take a look at. Okay, that's all the new stuff I want to cover. let's go into the fun discussion topic real quick. I know we're running longer because of the tech issues, but I want to talk about returning to older games. And what does that mean exactly? So, return to older games in the sense that I feel that there are certain games out there that when they have a lot of releases or a lot of content comes out, the game is no longer what it originally was. And the example I'll give is Marvel Legendary. I've got the rulebook here, and I mean this is a pretty decent example because all of these are just rulebooks for all of the expansions that came out, and it is on its ninth year of continued support, and each year has 3 to 4, like around 4 expansions. And so it's interesting because like with the board game hobby as a whole, there's always like, and we just talked about, right, the new stuff coming out. What's the new stuff coming out? What's the new stuff coming out? But we hardly ever, I feel like, take time to like go back to old stuff, and it's kind of a weird thing. Like I'm not saying it's like necessarily a problem or not, but it's just like one of these observations. Like it's always our attention's always being diverted away. When sometimes it's good to set aside. At least I found it to return to these other stuff, see how things have changed. But at the same time, like, well, if the initial impression wasn't that great, then is it worth it coming back to? I don't know. So that's a just something I've been thinking about. What are your thoughts on that, Baron?
I kind of agree. I have a tendency to drift towards the brand new, but there are. I mean, for example, we're just playing Detective City of Angels. That's been around for a while, but it is an expansion, so I don't know how much that would relate. But I do gravitate towards the new, the exciting. Um, but just like you're saying, almost all the living card games are very similar in that. You started with the core, and a lot of the mechanics really remain the same. They don't really fundamentally change the mechanics, but they do add new stuff that changes the way certain people or cards react if that have been brought up in the past. And I think card games in general have a better way of doing this because the I don't know, I can't think of too many board games off the top of my head that really. I guess like Spirit Island, they had that newer expansion, but again, it's expansions. I don't know how much that is different from other things, but it changed the fundamentals or added to the game to make it a little bit better, or I shouldn't say
Right,
better,
right,
different. You know what I mean? I guess you could say, I don't know. I got this game we got here called Myth. It's gone through 3 iterations already. The first iteration, sadly, was not the greatest, and it lost a lot of its. But then people still kept up with number two, and then it really has lost its steam. It really has lost its power. We'll see what Ulysses does with it. I did a few playthroughs of the newer stuff that they're still working on, so those are all beta playthroughs. Um, but it'd be interesting to see how that is able to. A lot of times, if you try to tweak a game and it doesn't go over real well, you're losing your fan base, sadly.
correct.
But Fantasy Flight, I think, of all publishers, is really good at this. They revitalized Descent. They revitalized Imperial Assault by using the app. They invented that app thing to come out. So like you're again reinventing the same game, but being able to make it. Being able to make it better. I'm always going to say better because that's the way it works. Even though it might not be for everybody that way.
I think that's a good point about the expansions. Like what I'm talking about here is not necessarily a game that gets expansions to come back to it, but a game that has a longer life of support than what it originally
Oh,
was.
gotcha.
Because I mean, and I'm glad you brought it up because like you're exactly right. You can have an expansion come out for a game, and you know what? It's not doing much to help the game, or maybe even making it worse in some cases, right? Or maybe just moderately better. But like when you have so much coming out for a game that it could dramatically affect the original product. Like I'll be honest, like Marvel Legendary, the original core set now, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Like it's just not holding water. But like with all this content and what it became with adding these epic masterminds and changing the content of all these decks, it is a very different product than it originally was.
Right.
We have a
So
question
Aeon's
here.
End also probably wouldn't fall over in this category either because the expansions are just really expansions for it. They're not adding. Well,
Well,
they kind of add to it, but again, they're not. That's a tough one because they usually are standalone expansions, but then you're able to use the old content. I mean, it's not really any type of power creep in it sometimes, unless you're playing that expansion, like in was it Legend Legacy. Some of the stuff you
right,
can't use
right.
because it is too powerful if you're playing it outside. But again, it's another card game. Deck builders in general seem to be able to do this a lot better than some other games, being able to add things to it and stuff. But anyway, that's another one you could kind of throw in there.
Yeah, and I think that one, when it adds expedition mode, that changes it a lot for
Yeah,
me, right? A
it
whole
really
new
did.
mode to play for sure. We do have a question on here from Spycom. The question is, any thoughts upon Arkham Horror Second Edition versus Third Edition?
Oh
So
yeah, I
I'm
got some
not one that
thoughts
can
on
answer
that.
this. What's that?
I got some thoughts on that. I only own third edition. I bet you only own the second edition.
I can be even worse about that, and the fact that I've not played Arkham Horror at all, either edition. So this is all you,
I
Bairnt.
played second edition. I actually do want to try to compare it. But I don't have a copy. I've only got the third edition. What I've played a third edition, I had no problem with, but I've heard through other people that second edition was better. I think third, from what I understand, is more streamlined, but it kind of lost some of its luster, if that makes sense. But when I don't have anything to compare it to, I have no problem with third edition.
I've
It's
heard the
not something I
same.
reach for. I don't reach for it very often at all, if at ever. There's a lot
Well,
of the stuff I pull off first.
it's not a dungeon crawl, right? I mean, that's the truth of it for you, right? But I will reiterate. I've heard the same. Tarek, who's on our Discord, is very active there. He's also local to me. I'll meet up with him to play games too. He's a big Arkham Horror fan as well, and I believe he had the same comment saying that he owns basically everything for second edition, and think I think he tried third, and he said he wasn't as keen on third. He said that second was the way to go. So this aligns to exactly what you said, Baron. So good question, Spike. Okay, yes, and I mean Arkham Horror. Speaking of which, it ties into the topic as
Mm-hmm.
well because that is a game that has a ton of content for it, right? Ton of expansions. So when you add all these other expansions into it, how does that change the core experience? Does it make it better or worse? Oh, Defenders of the Realm is another one I have that's very old that has just a ton of things that changed the game from its original state. So Spycom says I'll stick with my second edition. I think that's a probably a safe bet there. So cool. So I kind of want to just kind of throw it out there. The goal here is if you guys want to join us in on the conversation, what I'll try to do is I'll try to make it very visible on the thumbnail and the description on what topic we're discussing, so you guys can join with prepared talking points as well. We'll pull the comments up here. We'll address it. This is going to be hopefully be a live chat for everyone. Is the goal. Okay, but there's one other topic I want to mention, and if you guys have questions, feel free to throw them out there.
Is it Lord
But
of the Rings?
nope, this is the giveaway I want to do. Lord of the Rings is
You didn't
great though.
mention Lord of the Rings in your thing when you talked about all the new stuff coming or all this how to change a game and what it adds. I think that one really changes as you go forward in the game when it comes to being adding new things, adding
Talk about
like
living card game, right?
yeah, it's another living card game.
Yep,
Yes,
yep.
yes. And I guess you could say the same thing about Arkham Horror. I guess I already did mention a little bit, but I think that one is a big one, especially when they added the boats or something, and you can start traveling around. I thought that was kind of a big change in an expansion.
Oh, for Lord of the Rings, yeah, yeah. I was surprised that they were able to make sailing work in Lord of the Rings because you're like
Yeah.
a party of people traveling Middle Earth, right? And suddenly now we're on boats having naval battles. But they made it work. Made the system work for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Oh, related to that, I think to a lesser extent because it's still evolving as it goes. But Marvel United, I would say, is one because I know the core experience was pretty distilled down to its base elements. But when you looked at all the new content that came out for, they did a lot for it. Like Sinister Six and the Infinity Gauntlet are awesome expansions
Mm-hmm.
for it. And X Men looking to take that envelope and push it further in that design space they have defined. Okay, last thing I want to mention,
Give it
and
away, Steve.
let's do the giveaway. Okay, so that's not the giveaway screen I want to show up. Let me pull that up real fast. Okay, want to do a contest because I don't think we've done a contest on this channel yet, and I want to fix that right now. We're going to give away a dice tray. So this is the dice tray itself.
Wow,
And
that's
so,
nice.
yeah, my wife made this one. If you don't know, she does a lot of woodworking and makes a lot of fun gaming accessories as well. So, but this one we want to give away to you, someone who's going to help us out here. But yeah, it is. It's got some nice dovetail splines in it, and this is what we use in the dice towers as well. It's not felt; it's a foam, and it dampens the sound dramatically. It is a very quiet dice tray. But yes, I've got the form. There's a link in the description below where you can come in here. You will have to enter your email just so I can reach out to you, whoever the winner is. Not gonna use the email for anything else. But yeah, the picture of the dice tray. But all we're looking for is feedback on what you want to see discussed in this format. That's it. You can add one thing, you can add 6 things, doesn't matter. Come in, answer, it's fine, no big deal. But just, hey, share what you want to talk about. What discussion topics would you want to hear us cover? You'll get 1 vote for that, and then if you happen to be subscribed to the channel, you get another vote. And then we'll do the drawing. Winner will be announced during the stream, June 26th. So we can do we've got a little bit of time to collect those, and then we'll do the giveaway then. Now, caveat being, we'll cover the shipping for US and Canada, but outside that, we looked at the prices, and the prices are extreme. We can, we're asking people to help out with that for shipping. So,
if you want to leave comments about dungeon crawlers, you probably see me more often on the channel. No. I will come on all the time, Steve. You know that. I'm willing to talk about anything. I play all sorts of games. I know a lot of people categorize me as a dungeon crawler, which is very true, but I've got other things back here too. I've got maybe a couple other games back here.
Just a few. Just a few. Yes, for sure. But yeah, that is the giveaway we're going to do. So hopefully you guys are interested. And honestly, if you just want to share what you want to cover, you can drop them in the Discord or even on the comments below, and I'll capture those. If you just want to share your thoughts but not be part of the quote-unquote contest, that's fine too. Okay, sorry for the hiccup in the middle of this. Hopefully you do wind up seeing the beginning and end of the stream. But that's all I got for today.
Love it.
Hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for joining. And we'll see you at the next stop.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.